I'm a feminist, but the other day I looked across the room and there was, when there's a mirror that's a little bit far away and you can suddenly see things about yourself you didn't know. And it might be that the mirror's distorted, Kemah. It might not be an accurate representation when the mirror's at a strange angle far away. But I was talking to people and I saw this mirror across the room and I went, what's happened to my neck? And then I said, oh my God, I've got to do something about my neck because I'm not changing my age, so I'm going to have to change my neck.
Somebody give me a new neck around here.
I want you to know, you can all relax, I have done nothing about my neck. But if anyone knows of anything that can be done that's non-invasive to a neck, to just give it a bit of a... Is there something wrong with that? Can you see... Look, I'm under the lights here. Can you see what I mean?
It's fine.
Is it fine? It's perfect. I'm a feminist, but this is my favourite part of the show, where you just shout out. It's beautiful. People are shouting. This is like a dream, where people are shouting out, you've got a beautiful neck. We love your neck. Listen, I feel it's just a little, it's not as it used to be. And I just wondered if there's any non-invasive treatments that could be done. Maybe you just roll something down it and then it just, like a wallpaper roller. If anyone knows anything, just email me at guiltyfeminist@gmail.com and say, yes, I also had insecurities about my neck and now they are fixed with this non-invasive treatment that costs $6.99.
Do you know it's so dangerous?
What?
It's so dangerous. These infomercials, I think, are so dangerous when we're pondering things like this. I remember one time my nana was watching all these infomercials all day, and she just kept talking to me about crepey skin. And she was like, my skin, I think it's crepey. And she didn't think it was crepey before, but they said crepey, and now she's like, I know exactly what this is. This is crepey skin. I need to get this cream to firm my crepey skin.
That's when the television creates a problem for you that you then can only solve by buying their expensive infomercial products.
Yeah, now you're using the word crepey to describe yourself. You've never done that before.
Would you drop your grandma a little WhatsApp and say what was the name of the cream? Just because I feel that this might be creepy.
Someone, please tell me, what was the cream?
Yeah, I'm going to need some of that infomercial goodness.
I'm a feminist, but I'm tired of working, man. I'm done.
You were hoping, that women lost the right to work so that you could just be kept?
I think so. I don't know. At this point, I think I'm pretty much I feel like a loose cannon. I don't know if anyone could keep me, and I don't know. If I could time travel and just become the kind of person that just is quiet and nice and has a rich husband, I would do it. I would give up my wit.
This is like the opening to a Jane Austen novel.
Yeah.
I would give up my wit. I would relinquish my wit.
Let's take it back.
For a gentleman with a carriage.
Oh God.
And $2,000 a year and a home in the country.
Great. Yeah. Ideal. A home in the city, please. I'm not giving up my wit for a home in the country. Okay.
But what about
my wit?
What about a stately house in the country, a stately home in the country, and then a London townhouse?
First of all, you can't determine the properties of my imaginary sugar partner.
Sugar partner?
Yeah,
is that
sugar
what we're calling him now?
Yeah.
Sugar partner.
Hey, sugar partner.
I've literally never heard that before, but I like it.
You gotta remove it.
Is your sugar partner hot?
Ideally, is this my dream or is this their dream?
This is your dream.
Okay, yes, they're very hot.
Okay.
They're super, and they're like, Kemah, I just want you to enjoy your hobbies. And they're like, I want you to enjoy your hobbies. And my hobbies would still include stand-up comedy and podcasting, except it's less necessary.
I'm not sure how many Jane Austen heroines had podcasts. A lot of them some of them wrote novels, though, because Jane Austen herself wrote novels. She didn't have a sugar partner to keep her. She had to write the novels.
Yeah.
She died without a sugar partner.
Well, novels are just the podcast of yesteryear.
That's what I'm saying. So she was a podcaster but never got a sugar partner. So that's all I'm saying.
She walked so I could run.
Fair.
I stand on the shoulders of great women.
Is your sugar partner in this scenario, in this sort of time travel scenario?
Yes.
Do you have...
I believe in manifesting with intention, so let's get into it.
Okay. Is it a female sugar partner who you were sort of saying... Because some women used to live... like with an older woman, like a lady in waiting. So they were like Amy
like a
did
chambermaid or something.
No. Much more even status than that. So they were like Amy did it in Good Little Women. She went off with a great aunt, and the deal was, come around Europe with me, and I'll show you all of Europe. But on this side, you have to read to me and be my companion.
Yeah, but they weren't fucking.
No, I hope not.
Yeah.
I super hope not. But what I'm asking is, under the guise of that, there must have been lesbian couples, surely. Of course.
1,000%.
It's like, oh, she's my companion.
Yeah.
It was a probably pretty easy thing to pull off.
Oh, you misunderstood me. I don't want to go back in time, like that far in time. Like, I'm down to have this be like a very 2022 arrangement.
Why are you going back in time if you're doing it?
You're talking about hiding around Europe with an older lady.
I thought you said time travel.
Oh, I just meant to make me the kind of person that could be sugared. I don't think...
Oh, I see. So you just want to go back to high school and stick with the cheerleading.
Yeah, and stay away from that drama club.
Right.
You stay away from that drama club.
I see.
Don't you do that improv comedy.
I thought we were going back to at least Victorian times. I didn't understand we were going back to the noughties.
We're just switching it up.
Yeah.
I've joked my way into breadwinning. Undo.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I think you're going to be someone else's sugar partner. That's what I think.
Probably. I'm too generous. I was literally dating someone, and I could tell, like, I was like, if I'm doing the math, I don't think that they'll be making what I'm making. And so, obviously, this person should be a stay-at-home parent and pick lavender with their children. And what's insane about that is I don't even know if I want kids.
That's the other thing, is if you go back in time, they're going to expect you to pump out at least one baby.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want that. I don't think it's any less work than comedy. Let me put it that way.
Seems very hard, and so many people that tried so much at it do horrible jobs. Also stand-up comedy doesn't wake you up 5 times a night. Do you know what I mean? Stand-up comedy doesn't demand that you drive them to karate and then scream at you all the way there and then say, I hate you. And then say, I hate karate.
And then say, I hate karate and I hate you.
I'll never do karate again.
Yeah, I've said it before. Being a parent is just being an unpaid Uber driver, taking someone to karate who doesn't want to go and hates you anyway. I'm a feminist, but lately my tits have grown. We don't know why.
Wow.
And I'm not mad at it. I feel like I might be getting like 5 to 10% better service in restaurants.
This is exciting. It's great to see the change.
I feel like if I just shoulders back, because I've never had like big tits for my body, if you see what I mean. Because I'm quite broad and tall.
Like you're saying, for your bodies, and if we put your boobs on me, then maybe they would be big.
Well, no, because some people have very small frames. So I might be a D to double D, but on these shoulders, do you see what I mean?
Yeah, because
they're
they
broad.
measure the things. Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Like, I'm tall. I'm like, these tits on a small woman would be Barbie.
How's she walking around?
Exactly.
Get your shoulders off the ground, young lady. Stand up.
I mean, I don't think they're that big, but I certainly think they would be.
You ruined Jessica's back.
Exactly. If the Good Body Genie came along, the Good Body Genie is a figment. Do you know about the Good Body Genie?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
So the Good Body Genie, I would sometimes play with the Good Body Genie when I was younger. Now it's a little bit more anomaly for me because I'm such a feminist now. But back in the day, before I really understood feminism,
Dangerous game.
I used to say to Tom, if the good body genie appeared while I was out and said, what 3 things of Deborah's body would you like me to change?
You asked Tom?
Yeah. What would you change? And he would say, nothing, darling. I love you just the way you are. You're so beautiful. I would ask the good body genie to leave and just change nothing. And I'd be like, are you fucking serious? What if they never come back? You know I hate my thighs. I can't believe you would ruin that opportunity for me. So I would write down the demands and go, these are the things we wish to change. Should the good body genie call while I'm out? And it was obviously a hilarious trap for him. Like, whatever he said obviously was going to be wrong. But it did... So I still do have the good body genie in my head. Obviously now, I think all bodies are good bodies, especially mine, because I've been, brainwashed by feminism. But the good body genie, I think, has paid a visit in the night.
Let me sprinkle little boobies on it.
I think the good body genie's up the size of my breasts, and I'm not mad about him.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Just have a little whisper in the nighttime. Congratulations.
No, I genuinely do think I'm much happier with my body than I used to be because of feminism and also representation, just genuinely. But I'm a little bit annoyed that some of my tops don't fit, and also, who gives a fuck? I've got big tits.
Yeah. Is that your new slogan?
Yeah, it used to be you don't have to be perfect to be a force for meaningful change. That was my slogan.
But then you're like, who gives a fuck?
Now it's who gives a fuck, I've got big tits.
Yes, the guilty side is winning. This is probably, a little messed up, but, it's around fall, autumnal time of year. We get to thinking about the Salem witches and stuff. And I probably... everybody's thinking about them.
That might be an American thing? Or an East Coast thing?
We've all had the ladies on our minds.
If you haven't seen The Crucible of the National, very good.
I was thinking about him, and I probably would have been a witch as well.
Sure.
I just kind of have good vibes like that. Just like witch vibes. And if other people in my coven got caught and I didn't, I think that I would have to say goodbye to them. Let them know that I love them. And I hope that they survive the lake test.
You're not standing by your fellow witches?
Nope.
You're just going to be like, bye now, I don't know you.
They would put them in the water. They're trying to be like, if she's a witch, she would float.
Yeah.
They don't even know science. How am I supposed to reason with these people? They're setting people on fire and stuff. No, thank you. That's too warm.
So you were just going to edge slowly away from your fellow witch and go, I don't know, maybe she is a witch. I don't know.
I don't know that. I've never met a woman before in my life. But I would be doing it for us as a whole, because some of us would have to stay alive to carry on.
For the greater good of witchery.
Yeah.
I see. So you're not doing it for yourself so much as the concept of witchery.
Exactly. Just for witchcraft as a whole.
Nobody in this audience is buying that story.
Okay. Well.
Live from King's Place in London, the Spontaneity Shop presents The Guilty Feminist with me, Deborah Francis-White, guest host Kemah Bob, and our very special guest, Jordan Gray, talking about Is It a Bird?
Why do people eat cheese for dessert?
Eat cheese. Is that a British thing? They don't do that in America?
No, and it's on the menu a lot, and it's dessert, and then it's cheese.
And you're suggesting it should not be?
Well, I don't know where just a bunch of cheese goes on a menu.
A bunch of cheese. There are British people here who are really bristling at this. They're like, just give us a cheer if you're cheese or pudding, like dessert. Just cheers. Just give us... If you could only have one, just give us a cheer. This is turning into off menu, isn't it?
My God.
Just give us a cheer if you're cheese. Give us a cheer if you're sweet pudding dessert. Give us a cheer if you're both. Okay, so pudding takes a bite a little bit, but it's a lot of cheeses here.
So it's the idea when we're using the word dessert to describe cheese. What is the definition of dessert? Is dessert not meant to be like a sweet thing? Are we simply just being like, this is the post-meal delight?
Yeah, I think really there should be a pudding course, then a cheese course. So cheese should be your fourth course, really. There should be a starter, a main, a dessert, and then a cheese platter board.
I struggle with the lactose, so maybe that's where I'm a weird... You know what, guys? It was about me.
I am fine with you centering yourself in the cheese course.
Sorry.
But lactose comes into most puddings as well, most desserts, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you do? What do you do for a what's your delight?
I eat them up.
You just eat it and then just suffer the consequences.
Yeah, yes I do. Whoever is with me will suffer as well.
What's the dessert of your dreams?
Okay, there's fresh fruit involved, right?
Fresh
I always
fruit?
enjoy the tang of a berry, right? And I'm talking about straw, rasp. We could go with blue, but I prefer straw and rasp, to be honest. And, that's just me, and like to each their own or whatever. I think we're dealing with an ice cream of sorts.
Yes.
I don't know if the cream is iced or whipped. Maybe both. This is my dream. The creams are both whipped and iced.
Yeah, go on. It's a dream. But
well-made vegan. Nobody's fighting tonight. There is an element of chocolate, but it's not too overpowering.
Yep.
Maybe in the form of a brownie under said ice cream.
Ooh, yes.
But does this clash with my fresh fruits? Only one way to find out.
Fight. So raspberries, I can see this now. It's a chocolate brownie with vanilla ice cream, fresh whipped cream, and some raspberries.
Yeah.
Is there a coulis? Is there a sort of...
I was just thinking coulis.
Yeah.
There may be a coulis.
Yeah, I think there's a coulis. I think I would have, if I can only have one pudding...
Please tell me your dream.
Like a vanilla Haagen-Dazs ice cream with a hot chocolate fudge sundae over the top and a side of pavlova. I just love pavlova so much. Also, I have a seminal memory, a pavlova seminal memory. That
is that that's not like the meringue type one? Is
pavlova?
That one? Yeah.
Or the seminal memory.
But is pavlova merengue or is it like that? Like thick?
It's a meringue shell with meringue froth inside, fluff.
Yes.
Fluff.
Yes.
It's actually, New Zealanders claim it's theirs, Australians claim it's theirs. I think it is in fact a New Zealand thing, but Australians are more...
Claimy.
Australia's quite claimy, yeah. Russell Crowe, Australian, not New Zealand, just to name but one
We'll
thing.
take him.
Exactly. I think now we're probably giving him back, if I'm honest, the way he's behaved over the last few years. I remember when I was a little girl, we had people for dinner, and I'd never tasted pavlova before. And obviously we were allowed to stay up and have this special dinner. And I remember thinking it was ice cream, and I put my spoon in and I tasted it, and it was the greatest thing I'd ever tasted. It was like angels crying on my tongue. And I looked across at my mother, and she winked at me because she could see how happy I was with this pudding. And so I always have this sort of really seminal, joyful memory of being a small child, not able to say, what is this food of the gods? Just sitting there going, oh my God, this is the greatest thing I've ever had, or anyone's ever had. And so I think pavlova always brings back that memory for me. And I would like it with vanilla ice cream and choc sauce on the side. I would also like a cheesecake.
Hey. I don't mean to be the dream cop.
You feel too many dreams.
Now this is becoming a menu. Now this is becoming off menu.
It is becoming off menu. It is, but they would only allow one because they're the patriarchy. Off menu, if you're listening, and I know that you aren't, you would not allow me to have so many of these. Have you ever been on off menu?
I went on, and they ask you, they're like, you want an appetizer, you want your main, etc. And I got to the bottom of my menu, and I was like, this is fucking gross. I was like, when you put all of these individually delicious foods together, I will puke. I was like, this menu is not realistic in any way, shape, or form. It was insane.
I hear you. I think that's sort of the joy of off menu. Anyway, let's stop advertising a boys' podcast.
No, I don't think many people listen to it at all. We should raise awareness.
hands together for the incredible Kemah Bob.
Okay, thank you. So, one of the troubles when you're a stand-up is you have to write stuff, and the only way that you can make your stuff better is by doing it a bunch. But I've done some things here that I've know don't suck. And, you know, that's been great, but now we're going to switch it up. So, here are half-baked thoughts from a Google document I have called Funny Stuff. Because I think it is. So one thing I don't like about like stand-up and stuff is people always want to do they always want to take cheap shots at vegans, and I don't think it's right. And I know that right now you're feeling like, oh, this is just a setup to take a cheap shot at vegans, but I swear to God, it's not. I actually think it's pretty fucked up to make fun of them, because like, have you ever dated a vegan and gone out to eat with them? It's not hard for you. It's hard for them.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're like two things for you. I'm so sorry what you go through. And you guys are such good sports about it. Out there just pretending to care about fries and cauliflower. Well done. I just want to say that when it comes to dining, vegans are the oppressed, and we need to be nice to them. Anyway. Okay, so I'm just going to read this out. It says, I feel like psychological torture is like a hand job. No one can get you there the way you can. And it just says, oh, sure, someone might be good at it. It might feel refreshing to have someone else take a tug. Jesus Christ. Take a tug. But unless they know about your crippling fear of financial ruin, you'll never come. That's mad. I actually am really good at torturing myself about like food stuff. Basically what it is I'm bad at cooking. Like so much so that if I had a cooking show, it would be called Remove Sleeve Pierce Film. Like that's kind of where my expertise lies. And I go back and forth between being like, hey, you can order food, and being like, why are you doing this? It's not economically sustainable. And basically, I could take myself on a real journey. Okay, so basically, I like to play a game called Ordering versus Grocery Store, right? And that's because I like to play a game called I Constantly Have an Empty Fridge. And it's so hard. I'm trying to get like around on it, but it's so hard. And then I'll be like, you're wasting money. And then I'll be like, no, you're worried about wasting money. You're wasting time. And I've spent so much time negotiating that I'll be stuck on the couch with like no motivation to go to the store. And no idea what I would cook if I did go to the store. I'm basically talking myself out of going to the store. And I'm like, oh, if you go to the store, what are you going to do? Get food, then make it? Probably not. What are you going to do? Watch it rot again? You're going to watch it rot again? Oh, you love to watch it rot. Oh, my God. I'm way too good at letting food rot. Like, I don't even try. Like, I'm just naturally gifted, and I think it's absolutely fucked up. And I understand that like food waste is bad, and when I buy it, it's not the intention, but it just happens. And so basically how it will go, there's something after this, that's so dumb. Basically how it'll go is at like 3:30 I'll be like, all right, we're gonna go to the grocery store at 5 so we can make dinner. And then like at 4:20 it like rains, and I'm like, can't go to the store in the rain. Are you kidding me? I'm outside, it's raining? That's insane. No one will want that. And then like around like 4:28 the rain stops, and I'm just kind of like, well, I've already decided not to go to the store. You know, and I'm like, it's still cold. You know, after it rains, sometimes the air is cold. I'm going to go out now. I'm going to get sick. Now I'm sick. Is that what we want? That's not what's up. And then, like, I'm like, and also, like, is what I'm hungry for at the store? Like, do they even have food there? Just the logic leaves. And then I'm like, but don't order the food, because then I'm like, well, it did stop raining, so at least someone will be dry. And that's generally how it goes. It's very sad. I here have a note that says, cum diamonds. And it's just an exploration of how everyone's always talking about blood diamonds, but no one seems to care about cum diamonds. And I think that in the kind of hierarchy of diamonds, it would be like spit diamonds are like very low, and then like above that, like other bodily fluid diamonds, and then you hit blood diamonds, and then cum diamonds are the best. So I just want to raise awareness of cum diamonds. There are better diamonds. This is honestly just crime. I used to only be good at two things when I lived in America, and that was boiling water and sucking dick. And then I moved to the UK, and you guys have all these kettles. It's making me feel pretty bad about myself. Oh my God. Okay, one last thought, and I'll leave you. Do you guys ever find like the hair of a lover in your bed and think, ooh, I could do a clone now? Has that ever occurred to you? But then you go, oh, how much is that going to cost me? You know? That kind of science, that kind of equipment, that kind of technology. You know, we'll probably have to investigate, find a team that does that sort of things, but they're out there, they're doing it. But then you're like, oh, well, once you get past the, those kind of logistics, now how long? You got to grow this clone lover from scratch? You got to watch it grow up? That's gross. Huh? That's not hot. By the time this clone lover I made grows up, probably won't even be my type anymore. Anyway, these are just thoughts that I've had. Thank you for listening.
Kemah Bob, everybody! After 10 years in the music biz and a memorable run on The Voice, she took her brand new show, Is It a Bird?, to the Edinburgh Fringe this August. To call her show a runaway hit does not do justice to the enormous buzz the show created. Suddenly, she is one of the UK's most exciting and celebrated comics, and for good reason. Please clap your hands, stamp your feet, and make incredible, guilty feminist, woohooing, welcoming noises to the incredible Jordan Gray! Jordan, grab a mic. Come, yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, that's the one.
Right.
That's the one. Jordan, you're...
Surely the only difference between a dessert and cheese is the linear nature of time. Because most desserts are cream-based and they will curdle given the opportunity.
Oh, that's
so it's sort of the same
point.
thing, really.
If you leave any cream-based pudding out in the rain long enough...
It will become some kind of cheese.
In the rain as well. That's an unusual situation to have a dessert.
So I just thought it was like someone left the cake out in the rain.
Sorry, I just feel like I'm being attacked.
Yeah, it's basically every pudding you've ever eaten is just days away from cheese.
Yeah.
Jordan, are you more of a cheese gal or more of a pudding gal?
I like cheesecake. Just
sort
everybody out.
Controversial. Thrown down on the table.
Take a stand. Jordan's now walking out, rightfully.
Jordan, your show this year in Edinburgh got nominated for the Edinburgh Comedy Award, and it was one of the hottest shows going in Edinburgh. It's so exciting.
It was a very small box indeed. It was very hot in there for the whole time. But also, it was really nice to get nominated for that award because that's what is the holy grail for a comedian. It made me really happy.
Yeah.
And alongside some of the best comedians I've ever met in my life. So it's an honour. You always think, there was only 9 of us nominated, and you always assume it must be a fluke. I think I must be the 9th one. I must have just got across the line. And then it turned out people really liked it. It was good.
Oh,
it was incredible. I went to go see the show, And I knew a bit out that I needed to get my ticket because I was like, oh, people are getting in there. It's selling hot. It's selling fast. And I was so glad that I grabbed it and that I saw it and that I was able to see you move and be and to see you celebrate yourself and be celebrated. Like, it's such a bum show and you're such a bum performer and everything that you're getting is, like, so well-deserved. So congratulations.
This is the nicest introduction I've ever had in my life. Thanks. That's so nice.
It's so good.
Thank you very much. I've had a really difficult couple of days, been really complicated couple of days, and this is the nicest thing, just to be surrounded by nice, really nice people, intelligent, lovely people that just want to talk about nice things. It's really nice. Also, I'm involved in this conversation quite a lot, which is nice as well.
Yeah, this moment is to centre and celebrate you and all the wonderful things you're doing. I was not able to get a ticket for your show when I went up to Edinburgh because I was there right at the end after you'd been nominated, so there wasn't getting a ticket for Love or Money. So I'm going to come to the Palladium this Friday night and see it. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
And I'm excited because I think it's going to be an extra long, like, more Whistles and Bells show. No?
Yeah, because there's a stipulation in the contract at the Palladium there needs to be an interval so people can buy alcohol. So I've had to chop the hour in half, and I think half an hour per half is not enough. So I'm going to add more into each half, so it's like a bumper show. Because people got paid parking and like babysitters and stuff. An hour is not long enough.
Are you excited about that, challenge of building it out? And
I got an email that said, there's an interval, so perhaps you'd like to add another sort of half an hour to the show. So, all right, I'll just pull another half an hour of award-winning comedy out of my Aris. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
that's not really hard.
Yeah.
Been working on the show forever. But it might be the funniest stuff because I would have not really said it much before. Much like your stand-up today. I've enjoyed that very much.
Yeah.
The cum diamonds. It'll be a cum diamond situation.
Yeah, it'll be your cum diamond.
My cum diamond.
Oh.
We will be selling cum diamonds in the foyer.
I'm not sure that should catch on. I'm a little concerned that that's going to become a meme and a thing, and people will go, yeah, it came out of the Guilty Feminist. So tell us about this cum diamond of a show. Strictly cum diamond.
That was too fast and too good. That was very, very good.
I'm so excited about being able to see it because I've heard so many wonderful things. Could you describe the show for the audience?
I can. I shall do my bloody best. So I'm a transgender person and I'm from Essex, and the show's called Is It a Bird? Because it's like, is it a bird, is it a plane? But also, is it a bird? I don't know. I'll figure out. Because I play to quite a broad audience. Like, that's something I discovered, especially at the Fringe, is that my audience is very broad and they don't necessarily know what they're looking at. And the whole point of the show is that you don't feel bad for a second not knowing stuff, because I don't use any phrases people don't really know. There's a loose superhero through line. I'm a little bit jealous of Batman, so I'll talk about that a little bit, because like, how come he gets to dress up like whatever he wants and call himself a bat, and the entire world has absolutely no problem with that. I was going to talk about dogs and babies and my lovely wife. And there's music, sort of a la the great Tim Minchin, who I could never compare myself to, except I just did. But like, not. But he's the best. But I'm down here with my keyboard and my silly haircut.
But to be fair, like, a newspaper agrees with the comparison.
That's a lovely comparison to make. But then I also get like a lot of Russell Brand, which is fine. I don't know if that's a problematic comparison to make, because I don't know if he's done anything wrong recently. But because I don't know if that's good or bad. But it's a compliment, because he's a comedian, and I want to be a comedian.
Yeah. Well, you are a comedian. You got nominated for the Britain's highest honour of.
So it's empirical evidence. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think it would be really weird if they just sort of rang up and went, "Sorry, we've just realised you're not a comedian. We're taking that nomination back." So
I said, this was all an art piece.
I think it's really easy sometimes to like do identify as a comedian. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like as what I'm doing, because the art form's changed so much. And when I first came to comedy clubs, before I was even doing stand-up, a comedian was one thing, and it was so limited what you could do or what was perceived as comedy. And I remember the first people breaking through, like Dave Gorman was doing something different and slightly off. Eddie Izzard was doing something different. And I think there were so many different voices starting to bubble through. And now it's everything and anything. Like, you go up to Edinburgh and you see so many really wildly different hours.
Well, then there's still people that try to be kind of like, I don't want to say like traditional about it, but they're like, I think they try to police behavior of comedians instead of being like, you're not a comedian, but they're like, are you a real comedian unless you go out this many times a week, and unless you're gigging in this place and this place and this place and doing this, this and this. and being like, that's who I respect, that's who I consider to be a real comedian. So they won't try to like take it away from you in title. They'll just be like, I don't know if you're like us.
And the idea that you should be able to play any room if you're a real comedian.
Yeah.
But then I listened to the lovely Comedian podcast with and Sarah Millican said, well, it's not like I have to be able to walk into a room and entertain a bunch of 6-year-olds. It's a completely different thing. You don't actually have to be able to play every single room. You find your audience, don't you? You whittle it down. So that's bullshit as well. All the rules about being a comedian are all just silly and made up.
They really are.
Yeah.
I feel it's very similar to gender. It's like, seriously though, like I feel like the more I'm exploring gender and sexuality, the more I'm realising we have such a Western framework to go, you are a, you are a, you are a, and you are a. And when you are looking at Indigenous communities, it's just not really like that. We had this amazing Fa'afini woman on Samoan in Sydney, and she said, in the Western framework, I'm a trans woman, but in my culture, I'm a Fa'afini person. And that's could be anything in our framework, from a gay man to a non-binary person to a trans woman, and it's someone who's femme, but on this, it's all kind of a spectrum. And I said, well, how do you know what kind of Fa'afini person someone is? And she said, well, you don't. She was like, you get to know them as an individual and they will exhibit. But she said, well, it's sort of the same with, again, it's our framework, cis people is our framework, but she said, well, everyone's sort of on a spectrum in terms of their gender and their sexual orientation. And the way I'm increasingly seeing is it's not like... in the Western framework, we don't say we would say something was loud or quiet, but we know that's a relative term. Mm-hmm. So if you go into a pub and I go, is it loud in there? You don't just go, it's not yes or no. It's like, it was loud for me, or I thought it was fine. Right. But, like, same as light and dark. We don't have an on and off. Even left and right, it's sort of relative. Over there is left and over there is right. North by northwest. It's only gender where we go... it's boy or girl, and that's it, and let's stop talking. And it's actually sexual orientation that came from sexologists in the late 1800s going, you are and actually in those days it was a pathology. It was, this is your diagnosis, is that you're homosexual.
I feel elevated by this conversation. I feel my whole obsession in life is that I can add value to any situation I'm in. I felt so underqualified to be here, but that was really nice. I really enjoyed that. I feel I know a little bit more about myself. This is great.
No, it's only that I've been doing so much research for this book, but I'm sure, in terms of your lived experience, you know a lot more than me.
Well, I've not written a book about it yet. But I don't know. Perhaps you'd like to write it for me. Perhaps that's something we could talk about next year. I don't. That's the thing. The idea that I would know all the terms and everything. I host an awful lot of Pride festivals. When you're a reality TV reject like I am, you basically asked to do a lot of Pride festivals up and down the country because we're really affordable and we've been on TV. So I speak to lots of young people who have new terms every day, and I have to keep up with those. And that's a wonderful learning experience for me. But I trip up all the time, and it's like it's a difficult thing to say.
In terms of, like, getting the language right for the framework.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sentiment is always right, always welcoming and understanding and celebratory, but, gosh, things change all the time. And I've got to represent all of them.
I really appreciate your acknowledgement that the learning is ongoing and willingness to do so. I think it's, like, within, like, so much of the stuff that we're learning about, like, within the queer community, etc. I was just saying the other day at a gig that I'm confused a lot. I'm trying to think about, like, sexuality-wise, like, what do I think, a great person would be like for me. And I was thinking about gender expression-wise and stuff, about how a lot of the time people like to paint queerness and pride as like you finally reached this destination, or like you're there and you know everything and you figured everything out, when I think queerness is this journey, and ultimately the pride is like just like going and being alive and being yourself wherever you are in it and owning it. And like learning is ongoing. You know, and like I think both of you guys have just said like in different ways. Like Debs, I think you do a great job of keeping up with what's going on. Like I say some like just shit to you, it won't even be important. It'll just be what the kids are saying.
I'm always trying to learn what the latest language and frameworks are, but I also do think, in parallel with that, I remember once Travis Alabanza saying to me, "I'm trans because language is limited," and I think I think the furore in the press and on Twitter about this has become so locked because it's a very Western view that something is this or this, and you have to be this because I'm telling you you're this because you're not this, and it's like but it's only words. It's only words. Like a human being is a human being, and I think what we're all trying to do is say, this is my experience of being human. Is it anything like your experience of being human? And just trying to express that. And so then we look for groups of, I'm in this group. Are you in this group? Are you also somebody who has this experience or quality or body part or blah, 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 blah? And then people want to group together and go, I'll be safe if I'm with the other people who have this gender identity or this body part or this feeling or this. And then it gets so locked into, no, you are a this or a that. And it can only really be an experience.
If you've never had this experience of being this close to Deb when she's talking about this stuff, this is so amazing. This is so transformative. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's your sincerity is like so absolute. Like it's really. Thank you so much for this. We're just having a little moment. I'm sorry about this. It's real nice. You're really nice. Maybe I needed it more than ever right now, but I do feel. Thank you for saying that stuff. And I believe you as well. Every word you're saying, I believe you. That's a nice thing. None of it's like platitudes. It's like I believe what you're saying. That's what's so nice.
No, I really do feel it, and I feel like my big concern is that right now, and I really do want to be positive, and I think we can win. Is that old school homophobes are being emboldened by, they just hear, oh, we don't want this, da-da-da-da, and they just get, and I think we've got to more proactively, I think it's really easy if you're not trans to go, I just want to stay out of this. It's too much. Oh, I've got to get it in the neck from somebody. But I think the more we practice radical compassion and radical conclusion as a group, the less we need to be frightened because we will be together. And I really do think in 10 years' time it will be nothing. It will be, not nothing, but it will be, I think it will be normal. But there's a real bump to get over. And I think it's going to need all hands on deck, gang. I really, really do. Coming together. And I think
to get everyone there in one piece.
Yeah, and it's not easy because I think it's, you say brilliant things online about how change is difficult. And, you said a brilliant tweet the other day where you said change is difficult and I should know. And I think it's funny in it and it's really lovely. What I think you're doing so brilliantly is you're being really, really funny and really joyful on stage. Your show, from what I've seen, I saw you on Channel 4 the other night, it's very joyful.
I'm a 6-foot toddler running around. That is fully that. And nobody cannot relate to that feeling of being like, I'm so excited right now.
Yeah. Let's have a great time.
Yeah. Gender falls out the window because we don't particularly think of young kids as gendered at all. They're just blobs running around having a good time. Yeah. That's all I am. I'm just a really long blob running around having a good time. And that you'd have to be a stony-hearted bastard to watch the show and go, just having so much fun. And in order for that joy to radiate as largely as possible, as universally as possible, I have to broaden the language so everyone can understand. I don't want a single person to switch off and go, well, this isn't for me. Right. Because, I want everyone to live vicariously through my stupidness.
So what's an example of broadening the language, do you mean?
I will, for example, sex change is an incredibly old-fashioned phrase and it also doesn't make sense. I do a whole bit in the show about how you can't change your sex. Sex is genetic information. I wasn't bitten by a radioactive woman, right? You can't change your genes. I wasn't working late in my laboratory one evening. I tripped over and fell into a large vat of gender fluid. Right? You can't change your genes, but it's an old-fashioned phrase, and that's how most people get in. To use the language of transition, even that, you'd think people would understand, and it makes sense. You could ever figure it out. But if it's not the language most people are used to, I will introduce the concept through the phrase sex change, because that's what the top of the people that are furthest removed from this experience, that's their way in. And that's fine. Never let anybody feel bad about that's the word that they understand. And then we dismantle it if it needs to be dismantled. I think that joke about being bitten is quite funny. So it stays in the show. And then it goes downhill. I always thought this is really funny. Like, I always say, you can't change your sex. I'm not one of those dinosaurs out of Jurassic Park 2. And no one gets it. But then I crowbar in what I believe to be an incredibly good Jeff Goldblum impression. So that's the only reason for it, because I do.
Can we see a bit of the Jeff Goldblum impression?
You don't want to hear Jeff
We
Goldblum.
really do.
So great.
Nothing could make you more popular in this room.
Gosh. Your scientists, they're so busy trying to make dinosaurs. They were so preoccupied with whether or not they could. They didn't stop to think if they should. Come to the Palladium on Friday to hear me do that. I will just do that
for an hour.
Yeah. And you've got some incredible songs, one of which we saw on Channel 4. You're not singing tonight because you have to save your voice for the Palladium.
I do, because otherwise that Jeff is going to come out all over the place.
Yeah. What's your favourite song to sing?
I have a song about, it's very much in the style of the late Billie Holiday, and it's like selling your soul to the devil and selling your body to the devil. And then I just continue that list. So it's like, I sold my Xbox to the devil. I sold some weed to the devil.
Oh, brilliant.
And I love it because it's like a real bit of music as well. I feel like a proper singer. When I sing it.
It's like, it's actually a vibe. And you're like, what else is this bitch about to sell to the devil?
Yeah, that's because I was a singer for 10 years and it's nice to pull that out. It's weird to have an entire career and now it's been reduced to a party trick. But I quite like it.
Nice, yeah.
I'm like, also...
Yeah,
That's
because you were a
piano.
professional singer when you went on The Voice.
Done my best.
And then you've moved into comedy because it's much more. It's so much more fun. Because you're more autonomous when you're a comedian.
Yeah, be more yourself, I think.
You can just make your own living as long as anyone will come and see you. You just don't have to wait for other people to endorse you in comedy.
Yeah.
And I think it's not true in singing as much. I think you can a bit, but I feel like it's the thing in the world where there's the least endorsement by the powers that be necessary, which is comedy or cabaret. It's like, well, as long as someone will leave the house to see me, I've got a job.
And you can, something that you've just thought of this morning can end up being a show that evening. It's not the same with music. You'd have to be pretty prolific to end up with something workable.
That's true. Whereas you can think of Cum Diamonds on the bus on the way here.
It's true.
And boom, the routine is, there was some really funny stuff in that. And you're reading it off the phone.
Maybe one day it'll go into something about conflict diamonds and, the larger. But at present, it's just about cum. It's not about war. It's not about colonization. It's just about cum.
It will evolve, I'm sure. But we'll all be thrilled to say we were here. We saw the first ever.
The sparkling. You saw the rock that one day would become a cum diamond.
We saw the cum coal. And it's going to be worked its way into a diamond.
Why did I bring this up again? I really regret it. I didn't
I'm selling cum coals after the show.
No, cum coal's what you get if you've been naughty that year. Otherwise, it's a cum diamond.
Have you been very naughty?
Santa baby.
Oh my gosh.
What's the highlight for the audience, do you think? What did they most respond to?
The songs are a big big hit. I imagine me saying that actually about myself. People like the songs because it's easy to say anything you want with a song because it's jaunty and silly and anything. I think people just respond to the fact that they get to sit there for an hour and not feel silly or tripped up or bad about stuff that they didn't necessarily understand. That's nice. I've done a lot more crying during my shows than you would for a normal comedy show because I was enjoying myself so much. I kept hitting these new hurdles, and then like Ian McKellen showed up, bless his little cottons. Right? It was really nice.
Stop it
and
right
I've done
now.
a little cry because he's Magneto, and it's a show about superheroes. And then what I did was...
Did you mention he was in the audience? You just keep it to yourself?
I left it for about 20 minutes, right? And then I was like, oh, bloody Magneto's here. And then I kept picking up my mic stand and I kept moving it an inch towards him and going, here, mate. Come on, mate. Oh, because he's got magnet powers.
Oh.
And he loved it. But then I'd done a little cry afterwards because he sent me an email saying, well done. And also, don't worry about the awards because the real award is the love and laughter of the audience.
Yeah.
It was so sweet.
Yes.
Yeah, and it proper got me because I was like, if he's got that grace and decorum after all this time, like, I've got to catch up.
I think that is the real award, but the other awards are nice too.
They're lovely.
I like both kinds of awards.
I'm wondering, because I think it's really gracious and kind of you. And when I think about going up, because when you go up to the Fringe, the people that are there, that are watching things, it's hard to tell, who they are, where they are. And I think it's really lovely that you're like, I want to make sure that everyone can come in. can I ask how much of that felt like responsibility? Maybe responsibility to not only like the community, but also responsibility to get in booties and seats. So what felt like you had to make it accessible, and what of it was, you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, and I'm far more proud of being like working class than I am of being transgender. So I wanted to make sure it was affordable and anyone could get in. And I always say, because I write for a lot of TV, and I'm a comedian first and a transgender person second. So you come to enjoy comedy before you would come to hear about the transgender experience. It's obviously going to come up because you write about what you know. And I sort of know a bit about it. So like that's what we talk about. It just has to be available to everyone. But then The Guardian done a nice 5-star, and then The Telegraph did a nice 5-star, and then suddenly a week later you get that knock-on effect of all the Telegraph readers sitting in the front row with their arms crossed, like, entertain me now. And that's lovely. What a lovely challenge. Because I'm like, all right, you've paid your money as well, just like anybody else, and they turned out to be some of the loveliest audiences as well. Like, it's a treat. I got to meet every single kind of person. It's not like you do walk out as a comedian. I was saying to Sophie Duker earlier today. If you go out and you see in the distance someone's got like blue and pink dyed hair, you go, oh, this is going to be a good gig. They're going to respond. This is fine. This is okay. We look for sort of like, gender non-conforming or like colourfulness. You're like, great, this is going to be great. We're going to have a nice time. But if you don't see that, oh, hello.
Just a blue-haired person laughing in the audience.
I thought, can I just direct my next Jeff impression to this person? See if we get a better response. Because I'm like, well, they've already gone past a certain... I'm making huge assessments about people that have dyed their hair a different colour. But you've jumped one social boundary already. If you're willing to dye your hair an exciting colour, you're probably willing to hear other interesting ideas about life. And then I'm like, okay, this person's got more of an open mind and a lovely head. I'm specifically talking about you.
That's interesting. It
Is it?
Like what? No, it is.
It's what. About
no, it is. It's sort of what makes you feel safe, and makes you feel like this audience is going to be okay.
1,000%. I feel like for me, it would just be like a black person. I'm like, oh, thank God.
But it's what will relax you. And I remember once in Edinburgh doing a gig. It was a chat show, but I didn't realise that the guy running the chat show had a really right-wing crowd. And it was very, very, very bitter Scottish people, because there's hardly any right-wing people in Scotland. So it was like a far-right rally. And they felt so pissed off because there were so few of them. You know, they were just like, God damn it, why are we the only ones that can see the sense of the far right here in Scotland? And I remember feeling so alienated on stage, and I just sort of had to go for it, because I was like, they hate me anyway, why not have some fun? But I do remember feeling like, oh, I'm going to get run out of town. And it's like, in those instances, what will make you feel safe? Like, who can you hold on to, or what can you do? But you definitely start checking the exits, because you start to feel physically unsafe. And I think, if you're trans, that can happen any time. And so I love what you're describing about being almost like... you're very, and I see it from your Twitter as well, you're really radically compassionate and humanising. You're really humanising of everybody. And I love that you're allowing an audience to come in who are not in a sort of elite academic space it's so easy to get into this kind of very London way of, this is how we talk about it. Yeah, this is your assigned gender at birth. And we all know what that means. And that's a shortcut.
There's the elite academic. There's also just like being steeped in queerness, which a lot of people, queer and non, aren't always like able to have a community around them. There's like, well done you, standing in the gap and being like the biggest person. But if you ever get tired of it, just know that you can come be petty over here.
That's actually a really good point.
Because I feel like it does take energy and
it's easy to burn out like that. But also it's like I've sort of have started just to feel like a cartoon character. Also, which is great. I love a cartoon character because they're also sort of bulletproof as well. But
you're wearing a Marge Simpson T-shirt.
She's my new spirit animal is Marge Simpson, because there was an episode of The Simpsons where Marge found an amazing pink suit in a supermarket, and then she wore it, Someone proper nodding. And then her friends took the mickey out of her because she wore it too many times. So then she re-sewed it into like a different outfit. And I wore a pink suit on Friday Night Live, and my hair was pretty much the same height as Margie's. And then I saw a picture of it. I was like, that must have gone into my brain when I was little. Because she's my new spirit animal now. I feel like a cartoon. My hair looks like, when it's out, it looks like a child drew it without taking their pen off the page. But it affords you a sort of a whimsy. And also, I do literally every second. There's never a minute where I don't actively feel like life is too short. And not like a platitude, not like, oh, life's short, so let's be nice. I'm like, fuck, we're going to die. We're all gonna die. Yeah. So everything's fine. It's horrible when people say nasty things, but it's also like, I'm going to die. I always want to be to him, like, don't worry, I'm going to die one day. Probably before you, I'm bound to have something. Just calm down.
Yeah.
But
I hear that. When I left the Jehovah's Witnesses, I was a Jehovah's Witness, they tell you you're going to live forever on earth, and Armageddon's going to come and you're going to live forever on earth. And the day I realised I was going to die, and I remember it so clearly where I was, everything about it, I was like, oh God, I better start living. And I can always tell when people know they're going to die. Like, sometimes it's that they've had an accident or something, and their life's flashed before their eyes, or they've had an illness, and I can always tell when they're like, I've got to do something, I've got to be something, I've got to feel something, I've got to connect with somebody, and it's a wonderful thing when you realise you're going to die. Not to depress you.
It sounds so grim, but it's so nice.
It's great to go, okay, if we've got limited time, what are we going to do?
Let's all say it together. We're all gonna die.
But right now.
But not today. Oh, God. Let's get back to Cum Diamonds. I liked that.
I'm always scared I'm scared that the idea of being alive in the future is like what's motivating me to do things. And so if I'm just like, hey, we're all gonna die, like what if I just chill? Like, do you know, what if I chill too much? Do you know what I mean? So my fear is that if I'm like, oh, life is short, we're going to die, I'm not going to be like, let's go make shit happen. I'm going to be like, then why the fuck are we hustling?
Yeah, I think that we need a certain amount of chill and a certain amount of hustle. But I am really, I'm certainly loving the hustle you're doing at the moment. I feel like you're bringing joy, and you're bringing accessibility, and you're bringing great comedy and great singing, and you're doing that, as a trans woman who is, should I say trans woman, trans person? Should I say trans?
I'm a trans woman. I'll believe whatever you say. Honestly. You're so nice and good at this. I'll believe what you say. I think I'm a trans woman.
I just wanted to check, because you said trans person. I thought I might be saying the wrong thing.
Oh, okay. No,
okay.
That's very sweet, though.
I'll pick it up. I'll say it again. And as you're doing that as a trans person, and that is in itself a great act of both joy and defiance in this world. That's
Thank you very much.
This world is in itself. The world doesn't know itself.
Is that for the person with the dyed hair? A little applause came out. That makes me so happy. Sorry to interrupt. Thank you so much.
No. Feel free to applaud or don't.
Or don't.
Now, Jordan, when's your next run?
By the time this comes out, actually, I suppose it might have been announced that we're likely to do it towards Christmas time. Maybe towards Christmas.
Yeah. So if you want to see it in London, come and see it this Friday night at the Palladium.
Yeah.
And then it'll be around the country and probably somewhere near London in the later this year, early next year. What's your website?
You could follow me across social media at Tall Dark Friend. Don't ask me what it means. I don't know. But Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and the like, and we'll be on there, won't it? Tall Dark Friend.
Yeah. And do you have a website with all your dates on or no? No. Okay. Don't find Tall Dark Friend's website. Go to her socials, and you will find her dates there. Kemah, Bob, is there anything you'd like to plug?
Please listen to the Films of Colour Comedy Club podcast, which is available anywhere you listen.
And come to the live shows as well. Also, on the 3rd of December, we are doing a big show on the South Bank. It's called The Guilty Feminist Presents Campus Christmas.
Yes.
And all the proceeds are for the Say It Loud Club, which is run for and by LGBTQ plus refugees who are fleeing homophobic oppression. And they're now in London, or the UK somewhere. Sorry, there are other places. Other places are available. Sorry, they're not all in London. There are places that are not London. This has really gone horribly wrong. everyone on the bill is LGBTQ plus. It is going to be a great night. Tom, Ann and I are co-hosting. We were doing it last Christmas, but then it got COVID. And we all remember last Christmas, suddenly there was this horrible second COVID outbreak. So it became Campus Springtime. But it was not just about the night. It wasn't just about the money. Amazing things happened. Like a lawyer came out of the audience and said, because most of the audience were LGBTQ+, as you can imagine, with the bill that we had. And she came out and said, I work for a big law firm, but we have an immigration department, and I'm going to organise for some pro bono legal work for the Say It Loud Club, because queer refugees are often asked at the Home Office, like, prove how you don't look like a lesbian. You know, like, what does a lesbian look like? So the Say It Loud people will be on the bill. Kemah Bob will be on the bill. Jordan will be on the bill if she wants to. I haven't asked her yet, but I'm asking her now. I don't know if you're free, December 3rd.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
It's going to be really great. It's at the Queen Elizabeth Hall, South Bank Centre. Get tickets now, because all the tickets will go. I think there'll also be some kind of big fancy musician there as well. So get tickets now or don't get tickets. But also, if you could go through your WhatsApps and like invite lots of fun people who might like a big LGBTQ plus event, that would be really great. I think I might try and get some Block 13 people beamed in, not for a long conversation like that because it's a huge venue, but like beamed in to say hi to, and we'll try and raise some money for them on the night. We might try and auction something off. If anyone's got anything they can auction off.
My virginity.
Is that a genuine lot?
We will have to find it.
Is it? I will need a certificate of authenticity.
It's somewhere. I don't have it on me.
Jordan, can we auction off your keyboard?
Oh, God, I mean, that might detract from my future career.
Yeah.
What about that suit? You could have my pink suit if you want.
Can we have the pink Channel 4 suit, really?
It's a complicated mechanism. I don't know if anyone could really put it on.
Oh, so that you rip it off like that?
It's magic.
People
It's made
would love that.
literally, I'm not joking, it's made by a magician from the Magician's Circle.
But
so it might be magic. Which
might
means...
you not want to use that again, though?
No.
Like, you won't? Okay, well, we'll auction that
Do you
off.
want to do that?
Yeah,
All right, then,
absolutely.
cool.
Perfect. We will be auctioning off, because we didn't get to auction off it last time, Dinner for Four with Rob Rinder, and he'll take you out. And also, Andrew Scott is making someone a video, like a cameo, because he's not on Cameo. So we'll have some good things to auction off as well. It's going to be a really fun night. Thank you so much for coming out. You've been really wonderful.
Thank you.
You have been listening to The Guilty Feminist with me, Emma Francis-White, and co-host Kemah Bob, and our very special guest, Jordan Gray. The recording engineer was Chris Sharp. The Guilty Feminist theme tune was composed by Mark Hodge. Producer was Tom Salinsky for The Spontaneous Show. Thanks to Zoe, Sally, and everyone at King's Place, as well as all of you for listening. More information about this and other episodes is at guiltyfeminist.com. I'm going to take this again because, Tom, can you cut that out? So, seriously, and cut it out. Don't just go, oh, that's funny. I'll keep it in. Actually, cut it out. I remember when I was a little girl, we had people for dinner, and I'd never tasted pavlova.
The Guilty Feminist is provided exclusively from Acast. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.